with the 24-hour news cycle, the media picks them up, got to talk about something.
We're the Armed Attorneys. Today we're talking about attaching suppressors to your everyday carry, whether that's legal or not, whether it's prudent, and can it be used against you in a court of law. But before we begin, show your support for the Second Amendment by hitting that like button. And to start the conversation, Emily, is attaching a suppressor to your everyday carry weapon legal?
I mean, the answer is yes, so long as you are lawfully in possession of that suppressor, under any other circumstances, right? So you've got your tax stamp, you will need to carry a copy of that tax stamp with you if you own it via trust. We also recommend carrying a copy of the trust with you as well, making sure you can prove legality under the National Firearms Act and federal law, which generally correlates to legality under your state's law. I mean, most states have a mirror provision essentially that say, well, yes, suppressors are legal so long as you're following federal law. You're legal under our state's law. So you want to be able to prove that you are in fact lawful. But so long as you're lawfully carrying that suppressor, sure thing, right?
And there's a small group of states that prohibit the possession of NFA items. Y'all know who you are. Obviously, that you wouldn't be allowed to carry that on your everyday carry. But the question that we get from clients every now and then is, what happens if I use this it's a suppressed handgun. Let's say I have to use it in self-defense. Does that change the way the investigation is handled, or does that change the way maybe the police view me as a defender? And I'll say just generally, this doesn't come up very frequently.
It doesn't, but I mean, if you happen to, and unfortunately, I think we see more and more self-defense incidents that should just be run-of-the-mill self-defense incidents. With the 24-hour news cycle, the media picks them up, got to talk about something. Suppressed handgun sounds so scary.
It does.
Right? Silenced weapon. Is that something that's likely to be manipulated to scare the general public and maybe picked up by the media? Sure. I think that's a worry.
So, and then it kind of begs the question, all right, so you have your battle in the media, but what about in the courtroom? Can it be used against you in court? And the answer to that is yes. The way that Emily and I approach these types of modifications, we kind of put them into two categories. We have function-enhancing modifications. I would probably put a suppressor in that category. And then we have non-function-enhancing modifications. An example of that would be, painting your handgun to look like a Nintendo blaster, from Duck Hunt. Something that doesn't make the weapon more lethal or function better, but it kind of draws attention to it. All those arguments come out. Oh, look, this person's treating this like a game. They're not taking life and death seriously. And so, putting a suppressor in that first category of function enhancing, I think that an expert would be able to explain it.
Yeah, I mean, this is sort of where we go into, look, do you keep yourself safest and let your attorney sort it out later? Or do you worry about every single thing that a prosecutor could be used against you?
Right.
I mean, there is possibly a certain armed attorney who has a home defense gun with a suppressor attached and doesn't worry about it.
And she doesn't worry about it.
But I mean, there really is. I mean, you pick your battles essentially with these function enhancing modifications, and you cross your fingers and you say, hopefully I don't have to worry about this later, but if I do, that's my lawyer's job.
Yeah, because there are a lot of legitimate reasons why somebody would want to suppress their firearm. Hearing protection, is what comes to my mind. Flash suppression comes to mind. But at the end of the day, it's all about risk tolerance. A lot of people say, don't ever do this, or you should do this every single time. And it all comes down to you as the individual. Is it legal? Understanding the risks. And then, when you understand the risks, you can make an informed decision about it. But we hope you enjoyed this discussion. If you did, consider subscribing, hitting that like button, and help us fight the anti-2A algorithm by sharing this video.
And as always, please question and comment below. And until next time, we're the Armed Attorneys.